Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guy Show. Guys, I'm your host, Melvin Casey Lars. Now, as you know, we've been talking for several weeks now about having a dynamic guest on with us by none other than Captain Dr. Olympic gold medalist Melvin Pender. Now, guys, listen. As we talk about history, as we talk about having success, as we talk about doing things that many of us may dream about doing, Captain Dr. Pender has been blessed to have achieved many of those things. He's gone over a lot of hurdles, and he will be sharing with us this evening about those hurdles. And we will talk more about Dr. Pender's book, Expression of Hope. And we definitely want to inspire all of you. I'm sure you'll be inspired to pick this book up on Amazon. And it's a must read because it's a book about a hero, an American icon. So there's never a time that we can read enough. There's never a time that we should not relish and respect our heroes. So we certainly want to encourage you to pick up this book. And Dr. Captain Pender will be talking about this, about the book and what inspired him, etc. So guys, listen, we want you all to welcome Dr. Captain Melvin Pender. Captain Pender, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm feeling okay. I just got out of the hospital a couple of weeks ago, but I'm getting better. But this is the 14th operation, man, from the military, man, you know, that Agent Orange.
14?
Yeah, I had Agent Orange had cancer and leukemia.
Wow.
From being in the jungles of Vietnam. You know, they dropped those agents in the jungle to kill the jungle so we could see the enemy. But yeah, I'm doing fine. All of it wasn't from that, but a lot of it was.
Yeah. Well, listen, Captain. Many people talk about that. Yeah, if we can, especially right now, with the current administration talking about it's a war, it's not a war, etc. Many people glorify and glamorize war. You've served there, and you've served in war. You talk about the Vietnam War, and you talk about the Agent Orange that was dropped to see the enemy, etc. Will you just expound to our audience a little bit about being in the trenches, if I can, about actually being there rather than someone sitting there glamorizing about it?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people really don't know what we went through in Vietnam. Vietnam was a war that we never should have been in. I did 2 tours in first with the 9th Division down in the Mekong Delta. For the troops in Mekong Delta, we had to keep the VC from bringing weapons down the Delta, the rivers, to supply our enemy, VC. It was a thing where the kids I had in my platoon I was a second lieutenant then. And the kids were like 18 to 21. Oh God, my first trip was with the 9th Division out of Fort Riley, Kansas, and to Vietnam. And I was there a few months because they pulled me out to train for my second Olympics. But in my unit, I didn't have one black young man, a soldier in my unit. Most of them was all white guy kids, 18 to 22 years old. And it was a war that, like I said, we never should have been in. And the young men that I had in my platoon were like my kids, like my sons. They were white boys, and they were just like my sons. I guess I did something to make them feel good about who I was as a leader. But I remember coming off a patrol one morning. We had been out for a couple of days, and this captain said, "Mel, you going home for Fort Sam Houston, Texas?" I said, "Well, for what?" And I kind of knew what he was talking about, but I didn't want to let him know that I knew what we was talking about. To train for the 1968 Olympics, and be surprised. Might surprise you, but I refused to leave. I didn't want to leave those kids. I told my boss I wasn't going, and he said, "Well, you got to go." I said, well, sir, I don't want to go. I said, I train these men, and it was my responsibility to get those kids home safe. And if I leave them, I will feel real bad if something happened to them, because I trained them in Fort Lauderdale, Kansas. He said, well, nothing I can do about it. He said, report to the general's office at 9 o'clock, and we'll have you on a helicopter flying you to the airport at 1. So I did, and I came back. Now, I promised those men that I was going to win a gold medal for them, not knowing I was going to do that. But God blessed me to do that. Winning that gold medal was for those young men I left in Vietnam.
Wow. So, wow. Now, as you made that transition from, and not to sensationalize this, but it is a sensational move because you were in actual war, to leave the jungles of Vietnam to go and run track because you had been blessed and endowed with this great speed and great presence. And you could not only service and bring great reverence and recognition to the military in more than one way. Did that ever occur, even though you shared with us that you were you didn't want to leave the young men, which is always admirable, and sometimes people don't understand the importance of our affection for human life, and we should. But having the opportunity to have served simultaneously as a father figure, as a soldier, and that's why I want people to understand when you first came on, being an American icon, you're serving as a father, you're serving as a soldier, you're representing your country not only in the time of war, but you're also representing your country in a time of, if I might say, celebration. To bring the medals back so that we can, those of us that are sitting watching the TV can cheer and jump up and down and all that kind of thing. So I'm with that stated. As you were being victorious, did you have a were you able, I guess the word I'm looking for, were you able to truly enjoy that victory fully, or was it still laboring on you that your men were still back in Vietnam in harm's way?
Well, there's a lot of things I can say that how I felt, even in the military. Okay, when I joined the Army in 1955, they just had integrated the military in 1954. Okay, and still wasn't quite finished integrating when I went in. But when I was in Vietnam, I was there, like I say, for America, and not only for my people, for all American people, because all people in America are not like a lot of ones we're seeing today. I put it that way. I grew up in the South, man. Okay, and being in Vietnam, being a commander of 15 white young men, 18 to 22 years old, was like a fairy tale, because it's even in the military, man, it's segregated in the military. We're gonna say segregated. There's racism in the military. I'm gonna tell you just like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay.
Okay.
But I guess God has blessed me to have those young men believe in me as a Black man to get them home safe. I see stories. I read stories about the Second World War, the First World War, when with the Germans could go into a restaurant and have ice cream and eat dinner with white soldiers, and the Black soldiers couldn't even go inside. And when they went inside, they got abused and kicked out of there. And the German prisoners were sitting right there with the white guards, and the white Black soldiers couldn't go in. There's a lot of stories about these different outfits that Black soldiers was heroes, and you never heard about. You never heard about them. And I can tell you a lot of them. We don't have time to tell you about some of the units, but when I went in the military, I went in the military to get away from racism, because I remember sitting had to go in the back of the bus, black and white water fountains. To go to the movie, you had to get a ticket and walk around the corner in an alley to go up some steps to get to the balcony. Those things bothered me even when I was 7 years old. I remember that when I was 7 years old, and I said, why? You know, why do we have to be treated this way because the color of our skin? We went home one day when I was 7, it was the troop trains. These troops were going to the Second World War, and the white troops on the front, in between the white troops cabins train, there was the tanks, the jeeps, and the weapons, the big artillery weapons, and the black behind those were the black troops. And I went home and I asked my mother, I said, so, Mom, why the black and white soldiers not on the same train together? And they fight in the same war. And my mother couldn't explain that to me. She said, that's why you need to get an education. So one day you'll know the reason. That's why you have to get to read and do due diligence to be the best you can be in this country. He said, things are not equal to you in America. She said, this is why I always on you about doing your homework and going to school and being the best that you can be. But when I was in Vietnam, which I was there a short period of time, like 5 months, and they brought me out to train for my second Olympics, it was a miracle that I was able to do that in a short period of time. But, you know, I was 25 years old. My first track meet, I was 25 years old. My first Olympics, I was 27. You don't find sprinters that old to run as fast as I was running back then. But it's, you know, I can tell you so much about me as a black man, a black kid, 17 years old, how I was treated and things that I heard and was said to me as being black, but I had to persevere and had to endure those kind of things that were said to me, you know. But my dream was to be like this young soldier called Artie Murphy. It's a movie called To Hell and Back. I went to the movie one Saturday, and I saw this movie. And this guy was short in stature like me, but he was a hero, man. He won the Bronze Star, the Medal of Honor, and he won a combat medal. He won all kinds of medals. I want to be just like Artie Murphy. I want to be just like Artie Murphy. So when I was in the Army, I didn't fight the system. I used the system as much as I could use it. I used every bit of what I could see I could find to use to be the best that I could be in the military. Because my grandfather said to me, son, you had to do your best because you black. He said it just like this, you black. He said, you're different. And he said, and explained to me why I was different. He learned how to read by reading his Bible. He was a deacon in the church. And one day he was sitting on his porch. He was singing gospel songs, and we was out playing, shooting marbles under the carport. It wasn't paved, it was still dirt carport. And he heard us making a lot of noise. They came out and said, listen. And all my buddies jumped up, said, what's wrong with your grandpa? And he just said, listen. So he said, come here. There was 3 of us. He said, come here, sit down. And he started talking about what we have to do to be equal in America. Mm-hmm. And he said, you have to read, he said. He said, you got to do your arithmetic. That's your math. What they said back then, arithmetic. And right. You have to listen, he said. So those things, those 3 things he told us, I still say today when I go speak to young kids, I tell them about my grandfather, because that's who the person that I am that made me the person I have, make the person I am today. It's just listening to what he's saying. You know, that's what America's not doing. You know, I'm kind of get off the subject a little bit, but they're not listening.
No, you're not off the subject. No, sir.
Listening and observing things that's happening around them with this administration we have today. We have a madman in Washington. A man has a big ego, and we have a man that's a racist. He don't like people that don't look like him. And you can tell he already shown the world that he's racist. Look at the things he's done to get rid of a lot of black generals in the Army. Look what he's doing to black history and the military academies. Look what he's doing even at the cemetery in Arlington. You know, and taking all the heroes, written information about them out of the archives. I mean, there's just so many things that's happening in this country that's trying to take us back to the 50s and 60s. People better wake up. So this is just getting started. He got another 3 years in office. If we don't win the midterms, we can stop some of this stuff. It's going to be all hell in this country. Now you see what they're doing about voting. Yes. Okay. I mean, that's another thing. John Lewis was a friend of mine. John Lewis said, speak out, speak up and speak out. You can't wait till the last minute to speak up and speak out. It's time to speak up and speak out now. Because what I'm seeing and what the world is seeing, we're seeing a madman in this country trying to take us back and change the way of our way of life in America. We don't need a dictator. We don't need a dictator in America. We need a very intelligent man that loves all American people. And that's not happening. And I say it every day in my Facebook. I guess people think I'm crazy because I'm in Facebook every time I see something I need to send somebody about what's happening with that person in Washington. I let people know that it's not right.
Yes.
You know, I can sit here and talk to you all night about politics, which I'm not a politician, but I'm an American citizen and I'm a proud Black man. I've done my due diligence in this country. I've served my country and 2 times in war. And also in this country, is what I'm doing now is speaking around the country and helping kids. I have a foundation called the Gathering of Eagles Foundation, and to raise money to help kids get through college, scholarships to help them get through college. And also have a children's book, which I'll show you right now. If you can see it, you see it?
Oh yeah, Melvin Pender. Yeah, yes.
That's my children's book. It's beautiful.
Okay. A life of
I'll send you
okay.
a copy. But it's done real well, and it's about helping kids read. A lot of kids don't read. You know, if you know right now, you can see the statistics how bad our kids in America can't read. This country is behind on education, man. Other countries are really, really ahead of us, and if we don't start getting helping them, we're gonna be still way behind. But my thing is, once I got hurt, once I had this surgery, I got up one morning and said, honey, I need to bring my foundation back called the Gathering of Eagles. And she got up and she got it back together, and it's been doing well, trying to help kids get into college and schools. I would, my second Olympic team, I tell you, when I made my second Olympic team, I had also qualified to go to helicopter school. I was in Fort MacArthur, California, and I made the Olympic team in July, and I was supposed to go to flight school in September. I passed all the tests, the physical, pre-flight tests, the written tests, everything. So, but I made the Olympic team, and they said, well, you can go in January, February when you got back from the Olympic Games. Olympics was in October. So when I got back from 1968 Olympics, I was on orders to go back to Vietnam as company commander. And I said, well, wait a minute. I said, I can't be on 2 sets of orders at one time. I said, I passed all the tests and examinations to go to flight school to fly helicopters. And that's what I wanted to do. And I said, if I can't do that, I want out of the military. And this is my infantry branch in Washington. And this colonel was telling me I can't do this and you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But somebody in Washington kind of stood up for me and said, you know, they wouldn't let me take the test over again. They said they had no papers on me and had nothing on me. But the colonel in Mexico City, he told me that I couldn't get involved in any kind of demonstration behind John Carlos and Thomas Smith because I was also in the United States Army, and I knew that. You know, military, you can't be involved in any kind of demonstration. So I get back when he told me that, I said, how did you know I was going to go to flight school? But they've done checks on all of the Black athletes. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That was in Mexico City in the military. So when I got back to Fort MacArthur, they had me on orders and I refused to go. And somehow, I guess Sports Branch said, well, he need command time. So they sent me to Fort Bragg as a company commander. I was the only Black company commander at Fort Bragg at that time. I had been there as an enlisted man, so nothing they did there that I couldn't master. I had the best company in that division. And Colonel Malcolm, that lives right here in Macon, Georgia, which just passed away, was my battalion commander. I had the best company there. I was there 6 months. You know what happened? Straight back to Vietnam. Straight back to Vietnam. Company commander. But I was there with 82nd Airborne for a short period of time. Then I got shipped over to work for Ambassador Kobe. He was the ambassador for Vietnam at that time and became the CIA director once he got back to the United States. I was there 9 months and they pulled me out again. to train for the 1972 games. Now, I was 34 years old. I'm going to tell you, this is the God's truth. I was running better than I won back in 1968. I would have made the 1972 team. But I sprained the muscle in my leg 12 days for the trial in Seattle, Washington, which I never should have been running in the AAU championship at that time. But I had a coach said I had to run. But I didn't want to run, but I ran, but I was running so well that I would have made that team.
Okay.
But I got stationed at West Point. I'm sorry, let me go back. I was stationed at West Point when I left Vietnam. I was the only black coach at West Point, the only black coach ever coached track at West Point. I was assistant coach. And when I went back for 72 to train for the 72 Olympics. But when I didn't make that team in 1972, I turned pro for ITA and I ran track on the weekends pro when I was in the Army. And I set a world record in a 6-yard dash at 5.8 seconds at 35 years old. Now, that was telling you I was really ready. I was ready. I ran 5.8 in the 60. I'll hold that word. I'm the only one to hold that world record.
My goodness.
Yeah. But I stopped running after the 1972. That's when I turned pro. And I was going to school to finish my degree at Adelphi University, which I was traveling 70 miles from West Point, across New York City, the George Washington Bridge, and Verrazano Bridge to get to Adelphi University to finish my degree. I needed 6 credits. I had been going to school at night all while I was in the officer of the United States Army, because I knew I needed to have my degree for once I retired so I could get a decent job once I got out of the military. Nothing stopped me from getting that degree. I put everything behind me, things to do to finish my degree and to retire as an officer in the United States Army, which I did, retire as a captain. But when I applied for the job at West Point, it really hurt me. And one thing that really hurt me in my lifetime was when they said, this journal told my captain of my track team, and this Major Anderson at dinner one night at his house, West Point wasn't ready for a black head coach at West Point. Now, this is the military. Now, here's Mel Pender, Bronze Star Vietnam, combat infantry badge, medals all over my chest, world record holder, gold medal winner, Hall of Famer, and had a camp up there where I was training young kids to run track at this college up at West Point, upstate West Point. But I wasn't good enough to be the head coach at West Point. So that was one thing that really, really got me at my retirement time. It shocked me that we could have somebody with crooked minds to feel that way as a leader, as a general in the United States Army. But I had to persevere, man. You know, God said, you know, if you believe in God, things will happen good for you. So what happened, I had plenty of jobs, but what I did was I opened a store called Athletic Addict in a mall in Atlanta. I was the first black in that mall. That was in 1976, 76. And but then I went to work for the National Football League, worked for the National Home Builders Association, Job Corps, with kids. A lot of things I've done in my life after retiring. And also in Vietnam, I did some work with kids in Vietnam when I wasn't doing things for the Ambassador Colby, when I was in Cambodia with the Special Forces and so on and so forth. But I came back and did a program for kids up at West Georgia College called Vocation Exploration Program, where we took the low-income kids out of the low-income areas of Atlanta and brought them to a college setting for 2 weeks. And a lot of those kids have master's degrees and also PhDs. It was one of the best programs this country ever got put together. Then I worked for the National Football League. I was trying to run the country, speaking in Job Corps centers and around the country. And then I sold my business and went to work for Job Corps, the National Association of Home Builders. That's a Job Corps, manpower training. And for like 12 years, I was in Region 4, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, working with kids to find jobs for them once they finish their trade, which I really loved that job. But after that, I worked for the Atlanta Hawks, President Atlanta Hawks Foundation, Director of Community Affairs, which is a job I really loved. I was there 6 years until I went on disability from cancer, from the Agent Orange that I got in Vietnam. But that was a hell of a job. And even in that job, I worked at the FBI and DEA, traveling to South Georgia, where they had a lot of drug programs in the Black communities. I'd go there on Friday, leave on Friday night, come back on Sunday. So I didn't stop. I didn't stop working with
Okay.
kids, trying to help kids. It's about helping kids find themselves, helping kids to be productive in their lives. I still do that. I'm 88 years old, man, and I haven't stopped yet. You know, I'm speaking on the 30th in Pennsylvania. And I'm speaking also next week at a school, the kids, to try to make kids understand in America you can be all you can be. All you do is believe in God and set your mind and set your goals. You can do anything you want to do, even though we do have problems in this country. You still can find your way. But I can go on. You have some questions now. You can go on.
Well, actually, no. You're doing great. I want to make sure, and I didn't share with you when you see me looking up here. I have a monitor and the thumbs and the hearts and the tears are just going crazy over here. But
Yeah.
what I'd like to say to you, Captain, and because I want to make sure my audience get it, and I hope they hear you. When you were excited just about going to the military, obviously you could see that Audie Murphy was, quote, white, unquote. But
Yes.
your focus was on the production, which will, and that's what you're saying to our children. That's what you're saying to us, is that the focus is on production. And when we have people that try to pretend that you were not productive, I mean, being denied the opportunity to go to helicopter school and all of those things. And then you have people that run around trying to glorify, none of us are proponents of anybody being murdered and that kind of thing. But, when it comes to Malcolm and Martin and those people, they try to ignore that. So when you have people like Charlie Kirk, who's preaching hatred and doing all of this insane foolishness, they want to drop the flag half-staff and memorialize him and do all of this because he's talking all of this hateful, racist foolishness going along with this person at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And we have a Mel Pender, who is a true American icon and hero, who's being inherently disrespected and discredited, who will run circles around not only those two, but all of the people that associate with them. And that's what I want our young people, I hope that they hear you sharing that as you are encouraging them to grow and to keep going. So as you so eloquently shared this and put this, Captain, I certainly don't want you to leave out as we move forward. And we're going to continue to talk about your children's book and talk about, expressions of hope that you've written also, is that I do not want them to miss out that I'm still tickled about having the privilege of having to work with you at our football camp at the Gary Bickens Johnson's alcohol, tobacco, and drug-free camp. And I do say, God bless Gary's soul. Gary passed on in 2010. But I am happy because of people like you, Captain Pender. I told Gary, I said, man, nobody knows who I am. I said, I was a free agent. Nobody knows me. I said, and then Gary and I were the best of friends. So I said, let's have you a camp. I said, you're all American and all pro. So I said, let's have you a camp. He said, but no, man, it's your camp. I said, no, it's your camp. And so we named the camp after him. And when you came with us, and Billy White Shoes Johnson and Doug Williams and Clarence Sherman, who was a running back coach, I think at that time he may still been with the Dallas Cowboys, but he'd been with Dallas Cowboys, Seattle Seahawks, West Point, etc., and professional football agents and things of that nature. I don't think, matter of fact, Captain, our kids didn't realize the dynamics and the powerful men that they had in their presence during the time that you were there, and all of the things that you gentlemen had accomplished. And so to this day, allow me at this point of the interview to take my hat off to you and to salute you, my brother, because people, for some reason, that look like you and I, we fail to acknowledge and to salute our own. And we certainly, on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show, do not want to be guilty of that. And so we salute you, my brother, because what you do and what you have done is the foundation for what we need to do. A lot of times people say, well, what's the blueprint? You are giving us a blueprint right now. And they say, well, who do you have to show to us? You have Melvin, Dr. Olympic gold medalist Melvin Pender right there in Georgia, who is doing more and has done more than 99% of the people that they meet every day. And so I just want you to know it is an honor and a privilege to have you here. So if I may, if we can talk a little bit about the expression of hope, and I know that when you wrote this book called Expression of Hope, it's about so many things that you're talking about right now. And I know a lot of people do not write once they've had even a snippet of the success you've had. Many times they'll write books. So what really inspired you to write Expressions of Hope, the Mel Pender story?
Well, first I'm going to say that when I came to your camp, I was with the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
And I was working with a drug enforcement agency, DEA and FBI. And you said your program was about drugs too, but I was working with them
Yes,
when
sir.
I came to your camp.
Okay.
The Expression of Hope, my wife wrote that book. My wife and I wrote it. She woke up one morning and said, honey, it's time to write your book. And at the time I had moved my mom with me. She was 89 years old, 90 years old. And I was going through a lot of health problems at the time. And my wife was taking care of me and my mom. And a buddy of mine came from Texas to have surgery with my doctor. I was taking him at West Point. But my wife woke up one morning and said, write your book, and I have the name for it. I said, what? She said, Expression of Hope. I said, how did you think of that? But I sit down and talk to her, told her about my life, start telling her about my life, and using the tape recorder, taping stuff to give to her to write. And if you see that book, she even put pictures in that book in each chapter that I was talking. And she did a great job. That book has got me a lot of speaking engagements around the country. But she is just a very smart, intelligent woman that know how to put writing together in a book. And put pictures together. And I told her, you have to put pictures together so people can see exactly what you're talking about. Where I lived, where I grew up, about my military career, my kids. And she did all of that. And it has been very, very helpful in supporting our foundation to help kids, and also it's a legacy that I'm trying to leave. I want to leave that my wife can continue doing when I'm no longer here. And we also did the children's book, which is a miracle how this happened. This Air Force colonel saw me run. His father took him to see me run when he was a kid, and when he heard my name. I got his name from a friend of mine because he owned a publishing company. And he said, call him up. So I called him up and he heard my name and said, who? He said, Mel Pender. I said, Mel Pender. He said, yes. Man, you my idol. He said, what do you need? Okay. Anything you need, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. So he helped me with the book. He wrote, got the book and put together this children's book together for a lot of athletes, track and field athletes. And also he's putting together a leadership program that can use around the country and corporations about Mel Pender's leadership. And which I'm very, very proud and happy that he's thinking about me that way. I'm a giver, and I hope people can understand that I'm not trying to make people like me. I want people to like me because who I am, and then what I stand for. And the children's book and which I just showed you is the first book out, and it's absolutely a beautiful book. My people are ordering these books, and I'm giving a few away. They read these books to their kids, and they say they have so many questions about who I was and how did I do this and how did I do that, and amazing. So you get 2 of these books a month for like $20 if you order them. But I just
And they can
want
order
to.
these books, Captain, they can order these on Amazon, just like we did with the
No,
expression of,
no, I have a QR code that I have to give you. My
okay,
wife can give you a QR code. They can go on that
okay,
code,
okay,
QR code and order the books. Um,
okay.
I I just want to say that the 88 years that I've been on this earth, God has blessed me so much, and I had some good days and bad days. I put it that way. Let me just say that.
Okay.
Some good times and bad times, and some of the bad times, I go back at my age. You go back and you reminisce about your life, and I ask God, if I've done anything wrong, please forgive me. Because I don't think I did that much wrong, because I was raised up in the church all my life, all day on Sunday. You went to church on Sunday. And I was raised by my grandparents after my mother and father's divorce. And still went to church on Sunday. And you learn about God. God is real to me. I don't know what people think, what they think God is and who he is, and what thinks about their reading, if they read the Bible. But he has really done a lot for me. I'm going through a health problem right now, which is taking away my golf game. I love to play golf, and I'm not a bad one either. But
Okay.
it's a thing where they want to do another surgery on me, which I'm not going to let them do. So I just thank God for being a world champion, American hero. I would want to say in track and field and in the military. I want to say that we all God's children, we all bleed blood. And if the American people would understand what's happening now, black and white, they would understand that what's going on because really destroy this country. We might even have another world war. I mean, I'm telling you this as a military man, what I'm seeing it's not good. And he started something he don't know how to get out of.
Yes.
And you got other countries, you got 4 countries that don't give a shit about him. Excuse me for saying it that way.
That's all. You're good.
They don't like his bullying, they don't like his threats, and they listen to him and they all saying he's crazy.
Yeah.
And they don't care. But we in something right now in a position, this country is, with him trying with his big ego starting that war. If it's not even a war yet, hasn't been declared a war in Iran. So I just hope black people and white people can understand that we need to come together as one people. It's time. It's time before it's too late. We need to vote in midterms and get the House back. If we get the House back and keep the House, we can stop some of the crazy things he's doing. I'm hoping, but he's doing things now. He don't care what people say.
Right.
People not listening to him. What they're doing is they're not really paying attention to what he's saying, what he's doing, and what he's doing is a dictator, and he said it.
Yes.
And I don't know why they understand that. Look, I've been in war. I've seen young men die 18, 19, 20 years old for this country. Kids, these were kids in a war, 18 years old, 19. They're not even grown yet, man. The things that I saw, the things that I've seen, if you were in that position in combat in those jungles, like we were fighting in those jungles, in the swamps and the rivers and the rice paddies and you wouldn't, and you rubber plantations, you wouldn't believe how brave these young men were. And to see that happen again is devastating to me. And we do have to put troops over there in Iran. They're waiting for us. You see, they haven't done anything. They're waiting. They are waiting for us to put troops on the ground. They're there. I don't know why I can't see that. But anyway, that's enough. I shouldn't get into the politics thing. I guess I'm 88 and my time's short. And so I just want to let people know.
Let me get in. Give me a minute and let me get into it then. From a person that comes from a family where our son served 2 tours in Afghanistan. My nephew retired from the Army. My other nephew retired from the Navy. We have several cousins and etc. in the military right now. I didn't personally serve, but it offends me, quite frankly. 2 favorite cousins. One passed recently. When I see and hear all of the so-called tough guy talk and all of the bone spur and dodging and not going to the military and all the tough guy talk, hiding behind other people, and knowing that I too could have been in the military, but they didn't get draft me, and so I wouldn't play football. That was just my love, but I was not dodging the military. And see, that's what I've had to say to a few of my friends who, by the matter of fact, Captain, I call a lot of my white people, I call them my less melanated brothers and sisters, and I've had to say to them, that I don't care how you try to spin it. It obviously we all had an opportunity to volunteer, but if we chose not to, at least we didn't run away and hide and then try to run and talk tough and disrespect our military and those that served in the military and are still serving. And my question always to them is, how do you even pretend to support somebody like that? And God forbid, growing up in a military city with Barksdale Air Force Base, etc., and watching these military guys on TV, what kind of person are you? Is that you are so full of hatred until you allow a person that you know is racist and hatred, and you follow that same person who's dumping on you as a military person that saw some of the same things that you did, Captain. And these people are running around talking about they support Mr. Trump. I mean, what? And I have to ask you this. I know you don't want to get into military deeply, but I mean, what kind of sick, demented person are you to have been there, saw the destruction, saw the death, saw all of the things that you described to us, and yet you support a person who dumps, who regularly disrespects the military, who regularly brag about to my bone spur? I mean, can you just help me with that? What kind of demented, sick person do you have to be to support this?
And I feel the same way you feel. I don't understand. And then you got a vice president that talked about him like a dog. When he was running for president, I mean, talked about it really bad. And now he's vice president and has no idea what he's doing. They got people in Washington that don't. He hired people that he can control, and that's what he's done. He can control those people because they don't think about war. Now, he's over in China right now. You think China gives a shit about him? He said China is his friend. He said China is his friend. Man, China don't give a shit about him.
Right.
I mean, it's just that he's our enemy. But you have to get really diplomatic when you go into those kind of meetings. Not like him being a bully. He's gonna kill all the people in Iran. He's gonna destroy the country. Yeah, he's saying he's making threats like that to these people, this country.
Yeah.
A real president don't do that. You don't say things like that. You don't call people crazy. You don't call people stupid. You don't call people uneducated like he does. The way the things come out of his mouth is ghetto. You know what I mean? A president don't do that. And I respect all of my presidents, all of them, the Republicans and all of them when I was in the Army, because they were intelligent. They were intelligent, and even though they were white, they still was intelligent. But this man has shown point blank that he's a racist.
Yes.
And I mean, he's telling people this and he's telling people that, and he's doing this and he's doing that. And he's showing people that he don't like people that don't look like him.
Yeah.
And we have to understand, and people, even white people, they need to understand that too. Because a lot of white people they're not racist. You got a lot of people, you were surprised. They don't like him either.
Yeah.
And a lot of them right now, they voted for him. They said never voted for him again.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them not going to vote for him again because that's what he's doing to him. He's not done anything he said he was going to do to help the people.
I certainly hope he doesn't, and I certainly hope they don't say that to you and me in the public and then go behind that curtain and still vote for him. But listen, may I ask this last question? I know I've had you too long, and you and I need to do a part 2 and 3. But anyway,
that's all right. I'm no hurry. I'm just at home. So
okay. Well, listen, there's a picture behind me in the background, and there have been, and I'm not asking you to say anything you don't want. And let me say this clearly.
Mhm.
I don't want you to say anything you don't want to say. I just always, when I saw this picture, and I was physically watching the '68 Olympics, I saw you run. I've always been a fan. I need to put that out there. When you was on that 400 relay team, and these gentlemen were being ridiculed for doing what they felt conscious doing, with you understanding, but being a military man, having a catch-22, was that difficult, or was it just something that you understood that because you were military, it was you had a. I mean, I always wondered about people that, because, well, I know I'm babbling right now. I guess I'm trying to say, being an American, as we are all labeled, being a Black American as we are all labeled, working with human beings and experiencing the hatred and the racism on one hand, and then experiencing those individuals that at least try to do halfway right on the other hand, but you are having to work holistically with people that's constantly trying to destroy you. So in a track sense, maybe that's where I'm trying to go. In a track sense, knowing that it was going to be frowned upon for Carlos and the other brothers to come, do the black fist thing. How difficult was that to understand why they were doing it, but also to understand patriotism and being an American from the standpoint of what the country say we were standing for as a country, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well,
I would find it difficult.
well, it was very difficult for me because I was older than most of those kids on that team.
Okay.
I was one of the oldest guys on that track team, me and Rap Boston.
Okay.
And I was telling you as a kid, when I was 7 years old, I would always say why things had to be different for me because the color of my skin.
Okay.
And when John Carlos was my roommate, and I
Okay.
didn't even know anything about what was going to happen that day when Tommy Smith and John Carlos did it, the Black Powers. It wasn't a Black Power salute. It was a silent gesture, they called it.
Okay.
But the news media made it like it was a Black Power salute. It wasn't called that.
Yeah.
The media called it that. But
Okay.
we didn't know anything about them doing what they're going to do. We had meetings and they said anybody can do whatever they want to do. You can wear black socks, black shoes, black shirt, whatever you want to wear to show how you felt. And when John Carlos and Thomas Smith did that, if I was not in the military, this is God's truth, I'd have been right there with them.
Right.
Regardless of winning a gold medal. It didn't bother me. I didn't care about, I care about freedom. The little freedom we have today, we had a lot of great Black men that gave their lives for the little freedom that we have today. We still don't have freedom.
Right.
And right now, this man is trying to take that little freedom away that we do have. And I would fight to the day I die to get more freedom for us, people of color in this country. And if I was not in the military, I would have been right there with John Carlos and Thomas Smith. I told them that. They both live in Atlanta.
Okay.
I've been with them several times, and I keep telling them that you're my heroes. Because at my age, I'm 10 years, like John Carlos, I'm like 7 years older than John Carlos.
Okay.
I said, at my age, I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen it. I experienced it. I rode at the back of the buses. I rode at the black water fountains. I was called names because of the color of my skin. And I remember getting on the bus going to Fort Jackson, South Carolina when I joined the Army at 17. The bus stopped in Athens, Georgia for the bathroom. And I looked out the window and I saw color. And I said, we couldn't go inside to the restroom. We're still on the bus with maybe 30 white boys and about 10 or 15 blacks going to Fort Jackson. We still couldn't go in. And we going to join the Army to fight for this country, for all the people in this country. That hurt me so bad, I wouldn't get off the bus. I almost peed on myself. That's between me and you. I was not going in that bathroom. You understand? I was not going in that bathroom. Yeah. And it said colored.
Yeah.
And so, John Carlos and Thomas Smith, what they did, it took a lot of bravery, what they did to stand up for the world, not only for America, but the whole world, how they treated around the world, Black people treated around the world, even in Africa. You see what's happening in Africa now. They finally said enough is enough.
Right.
They
Right.
got this
Finally.
it says,
Mhm.
you're not going to take our gold and our minerals for nothing anymore.
Right.
And they put them all out of their country. I was so happy to see that. I didn't know what to do.
Yes.
But
Yes.
anyway,
Yes.
make a long story short, like I said, this colonel that was in charge of the military athletes told me, that he knew about me going to flight school, and he told me that I could go to jail if I participated. And I already told him I knew that, but I did tell him this. I said, the color of my skin is Black. I'm a Black American. And I said, I've been treated inhumanely in my life living in the South. I said, if I wasn't in the military, so I'd be right there with him. I told him that. And that could have been why I didn't get flight school.
Okay.
Because he might have went back and said, I said what I said about it.
Okay.
And that could have been the reason. I just told him point blank, I'm not a yes man. I'm going to tell you how I feel. If you don't like the way I feel, then, it's too bad. I'm 88, man. What can they do to me? My time is short. But I'm going to still speak up and speaking out like John Lewis said.
I'm the same way, man. Because I'm not going to mistreat you, but I'm not going to allow you to mistreat me.
No,
and I know we've all been in some situations like that. And with you being my senior, and me certainly not being a spring chicken by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm 72 years old. And I tell people all the time, Captain, is that I don't apologize for not allowing you to bully me. People want you to apologize to them because you won't allow them to bully you. And to me, that's always been insane. Even as like you're sharing with us as a young person, it's like, so what's your problem? Captain, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna let you go because I'm actually I know what I want to ask you too with the QR code. I don't know that it'll come through on the screen. If the missus can hold it up while you're there, maybe people can scan it when I run this, and then maybe it'll come up and they can, even though I'm going to share the information when she sends it to me, maybe the people can scan and still purchase some of those books as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, while we're doing that, I see the thumbs and the fingers and the hearts going up and the tears. So I told you guys we were going to have a special guest, and this is a special presentation. We weren't going to bite our tongues. We're going to talk about real life, and we could have had this show at a better time with all of this craziness and all of this hatred and all of this foolishness going on, and people just being mistreated and trampling all over other people and trying to make excuses for it and trying to say they're not racist. It speaks for itself. And you continue to hear from generation after generation after generation that nothing appears to be changing as far as respect for human beings. So we're talking about humanitarians. We're talking about respect for human beings. No one is asking for any special privileges. We're asking for the same privilege that everyone else is asking for. You feed your family, we want to feed our family. It's really that simple. So we're happy that you're here with us. We definitely want you to encourage your friends to watch this episode with Captain Dr. Olympic gold medalist Melvin Pender. This is a story for the ages. This will be in the World Archives. Now, you young people love to talk about things going viral. This definitely should go viral because you need to know who you are. Now, while Captain Pender is getting the QR code, we want you guys as well to get your phones today and also when this comes up again. And I'm going to give you the information. We want you guys to purchase these books and to encourage your friends to purchase these as well. And as you can see, the QR code has been set there. You guys should be able to extract QR codes from here. But also, as we run this, we also want you to encourage your friends to get this as well. And we're going, and all of you that want to let our people know again about Expression of Hope, the Mel Pender story. We want you to get both these books, and I want you to talk to your principals and to your counselors about having Mr. Pender come to your city, come to your high schools, come to your university, etc., to scan that barcode and order these books. Okay. Okay. There we go. Captain, do you have any parting insights you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show. You know, when I do these shows, I try to make sure that I give the right information about how we can be all we can be in this country and how we can help young people be successful and be good in their lives. I just want people to know that we need to help our children. We need to be able to help our kids. And I just want to say, God bless America, and vote blue in the midterms. That's all that matters. It means a lot to me. We have to take our country back.
Absolutely. Again, guys, this has been the Nobody Asked Me Guys show with Captain Dr. Mel Pender. Listen, we want you to do your research, and we probably you must get these books: Expression of Hope, the Mel Pender story. And now, will you repeat for me, Captain, the full name of the children's book that you're holding there, please?
It's called Mel Pender Life of Service and Speed. That's the name of the book.
Mel Pender Life of Service and Speed.
Right.
And yeah. Check that QR code.
It's a great book.
It's a great.
Oh, yeah. Pictures in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great book. We got more coming out, and they can also get those from the QR code. Okay,
sounds good. Okay, Dr. Pender. Hey, it's been great, and we thank God for you. And
I want to say one thing else. You see the picture behind you? The picture behind you of my relay team.
Yes, sir.
All of them have passed away.
Oh, they all passed away.
They all passed away, and I'm like 7 years old and 10 years old, and all of them.
Okay.
I was the oldest guy on that team, and that's my family right there. My teammates, my brothers. Unbelievable how close we were in 1968, and they all gone now. And
well, our condolences.
Yes, I went to Charlie Green's funeral, and I didn't go to Jim Hines, but I sent a note to make sure they say one lane open for me when I get there.
Okay.
And I told him I want lane number 4.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Give me lane number 4.
Number 4.
Okay.
You're right. But thank you so much for having me on your show. I hope I help you out and did well, and to hope people enjoyed it. And I'm here if they want to call me. You can give them my number if you want to. I don't mind.
Okay. Will you?
I'm here to serve.
Okay. Will you share with them, please, the information you'd like them to have?
My name is, just call me Dr. Mel Pender. My email address is mpender4@yahoo.com. mpender4, number 4 @yahoo.com. Have you talked to Billy White Shoes lately?
You know what? I got your number from Billy. I talk to Billy every probably about once every other month, and I'm going to call him and let him know how I am so appreciative of him sharing your information with me, and to get him to watch this and get him to share this and help promote that book too. Yes, sir.